You're listening to Barbell Logic,
the podcast where we talk about what it means to experience strength
and how you can use simple, hard, and effective strategies in training and nutrition to improve your life.
It starts with meeting you where you are right now and finding lasting solutions.
Welcome to the show. You're listening to the Barbell Logic podcast. This is a coaching success series, and I'm going to dive right in today. Look, I've been thinking a lot about this. I want to talk about customer service in a post-COVID world. I know you know this. I know this. What has happened to customer service since 2020? It is unbelievable. And there are amazing take-home lessons that we can have from this. One, there are certain things that you have to be a successful business owner. And I'll admit that, right? Like you have to have some level of intelligence. You certainly have to have work ethic. I was talking to Scott this morning about this. By the way, a quick side note, Scott Hambrick has a new podcast, my original podcast partner on Barbell Logic, called Stupid Tax, with his accountant. And it's excellent. It's an excellent companion podcast to this. I mean, we certainly see eye to eye on almost everything when it comes to business. Probably not literally 100%, but great take-home lessons there for those of you who are trying to start a business and how to start a business and how to be successful. And so there are certain things that you have to be a successful business owner. Intelligence is one of those, and work ethic certainly is another one. You know, I think the concept, and I'll probably do a whole podcast on this at some point, of the serial entrepreneur is complete and utter bullshit. Like the serial entrepreneur, a successful business owner has a long game view, always, right? So I've owned 2 businesses at this point in my life for 16 years, exactly 8 years on each business at this point, and certainly hope to continue to own Barbell Logic for more years to come. And so I'm not a serial entrepreneur. I don't even like the term entrepreneur. You're a business owner, right? And people ask me all the time, like, you know, if you sell Barbell Logic, or what would be the next thing? Like, what are you talking about? What's the next thing? Like, yeah, what would you do? But this is the only option. I don't have a plan B, right? Like, I lose my house if this doesn't go well, right? And so I will dig in and do the work. And one of the things that you have to do as a business owner is you have to do the work that's required to be done for 20 or 25 years, right? I see guys shoot out of a cannon in this kind of entrepreneurial mindset, and they get all like excited about Hormozy or whatever it is. And I love Hormozy, right? And they make the videos and they do the podcast and they do the marketing and the drip content and the funnels and all the stuff, right? And then they flame out 6 months in or 12 months in or 18 months in. And so the person who is the successful business owner does the work that has to be done for 20 years, not for 20 weeks or 20 months, right? And so here I am 16 years in. I got up at 4:15 this morning and got to work and just do the things that you got to do. And that's a combination of both the urgent and the important. I get up and knock out the urgent work. And we've done podcasts on this, do my online coaching, do my emails, do my Basecamp notifications, do those things. And then I start to spend time doing important work like this podcast, which is both urgent and important. Podcast got to come out in a few days. I got to do it, but it's also very important work. And then I've got a lot of work to do this today, and specifically over the next couple of days. I've been traveling for 8 weeks to the Air Force bases that I'm just kind of playing catch up on the important things that weren't urgent. And so I have to do those. And so in spite of the things you have to be a successful business owner, again, the intelligence and the work ethic and really the personality to handle risk long-term. And when I say work ethic, I mean literally willing to work hard for like 20 years. And Scott talks a lot about this on his Stupid Tax podcast, that, you know what, I work a lot of hours for sure, but I'm working for myself and I get to work those hours when I want, right? And so if I want to work those hours from 4:30 in the morning until 7:30, take a break and train mid-morning or early, like whatever that is with my wife, 7:30 is probably early for some of you guys. It's mid-morning, I guess, for me. I want to train, you know, and then I want to, in the summertime, you know, go to the pool mid-morning or mid-afternoon. I can do that, come back and work some more. Like I get to choose the hours I work. And there's tremendous freedom in that. And so while there are certain personality traits that you must have to be a successful business owner, the one thing that everyone can do, regardless of who you are, regardless of your intelligence, regardless of any of those things that you didn't do anything to earn, that was sort of given to you when you were born, is you can have outstanding customer service. And that is the number one thing that will set you apart in the market, regardless of what you're doing. If it's online coaching, great. If it's something different, that's fine. Like customer service in a post-COVID world is terrible. It's terrible. And it's not okay. Now, what that does, one, is infuriate me as a client. But the other thing it does is it allows the cream to rise to the top so much easier as a business owner, right? And so I actually asked this question to my staff on Slack, the places that they've seen customer service just take a nosedive and decline in a post-COVID world. So I'm going to go through a few of these. As you can imagine, it was a hot topic with people, right? You've noticed terrible wait service at restaurants. And I'm talking about nice restaurants, right? So, the wait service at Burger King's always been terrible. But now you go to a restaurant where you sit down and you have a date with your wife and you spend $250 and the service is still terrible. You're like, are you serious? And the food might be good. As a matter of fact, the food has tended to stay good. That's my experience, is the food's still been really good. But the service sucks, right? No maid service at hotels. I went to a hotel a couple weeks ago and the price per night, by the way, this was like I'm not going to say the actual, but this was like a Holiday Inn Express, let's say. I mean, on that exact par, right? Like a, whatever that is, 2-star, 3-star type, not a super nice hotel, a basic hotel, right? The cost per night was extravagant. I mean, like what a super boutique, fancy hotel would have been a few years ago. I mean, I was sick to pay this sort of money per night. No maid service, no breakfast, right? What was I paying for? I'm literally paying for a bed, right? And not that great of internet. And I'm paying multiple $100s per night for what is essentially a Holiday Inn Express. It wasn't Holiday Inn Express, so don't get mad at me, Holiday Inn, but just that's the level of hotel I was staying at, right? Dirty public bathrooms everywhere. I've noticed. Again, fast food restaurants, Walmart, they've always had dirty public bathrooms, right? But now you go to like fancy places, you go to boutique stores, the nice restaurants I just talked about, and you go in the bathroom, you're like, nobody's been in here in 3 days. This is ridiculous, right? I mean, airport bathrooms, good Lord. It's like homeless people living in there. It's ridiculous, right? Flight attendant shortages have caused airline CX to be, I can't believe the service, the lack of service that you get on an airplane. And again, I've talked about this before, and it's just, I know this is for some of you, this is like, but like, I've got millions of points on all of the airlines. So I get to use those points to fly first class. I'll fly first class everywhere I go. Flying first class, the seat is a $3,000 seat. Now, again, I'm using points almost always to pay for that stuff. And then the service is awful. I mean, I'm like, what has happened to the airline industry? It's crazy. And again, it's like, I get it. They're trying to compete with some of these cheaper airlines who actually run a much better business service. Matter of fact, so, you've got Spirit and Frontier and Allegiant. We have Allegiant out of Springfield. Honestly, my experience on Allegiant's been pretty good. When we fly Allegiant, and there's no first class, right? They're new planes. Flight attendants are funny. They're young and inexperienced. They get paid less, right? You get charged for everything on an airline like that. And I'm sure not everybody's experience is the same on these cheaper airlines. Southwest was the original one that started that process, but they're far more profitable. And you fly in and out of these smaller airports. You don't fly into major airports, so you don't get the delays, and you always have a gate open and all that kind of stuff. But man, flying has just been a pain in the butt. And of course, the difference from moving from commercial to private is completely out of the question. I mean, like, again, I'm the CEO of the company. I can't even begin to afford a private flight anywhere. And even if you live in a major hub, if you're at DFW or you're in Chicago or you're in Atlanta or something like that, they now have these sort of semi-private planes, are like, supposed to be really nice. I don't know. I've never flown private in my life. And it's still going to cost you, $5,000 for airline ticket. And if you want to actually like book a private flight, it's $35,000, $40,000, $50,000. Like, that's insanity. So you can't do that. So you just have to deal with flying commercial and dealing with the really terrible service the entire time. Obviously, if you fly coach, and I still fly coach sometimes, and there's a lot of flights out of Springfield, that's the only option. I'm sitting in this seat and I'm like, I've lost 65 pounds. And I'm like, I can't fit in this seat. And the person immediately in front of me leans back when the plane takes off, and I'm like, I need to get work done. And there's no way that a computer, I've got the small MacBook, would even begin to fit between me and the seat. I mean, there's 4 inches between me and the seat. Okay, that's enough of that. How about the tipping for everything? Expectations of tipping for everything. You go to a counter service restaurant, right? You get a sandwich, you get a cup of coffee. They literally, whatever, who's standing there at the cash register, turns around, grabs a pot of coffee, pours a cup of coffee, hands it to you, and then flips the iPad over 20%, 25%, or 30%? Which one do you want to tip? What did you do? What was I paying for? One, I'm paying $4 or $5 or $6 for the cup of coffee, which is insanity. And then I'm going to tip on, I walked up to the counter and got my own food. I didn't have any wait service, right? And then you go get lunch, if you get it, it's a sandwich. And when you're done, then you're expected to actually clean up all your stuff off of the table, pick up your stuff and take it to them. Please help us. So you tip 30%, but you serve yourself, you clear your table. Like, that is completely ridiculous, right? The absolute refusal of employees to genuinely help anyone anywhere. You go to Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart, or I went to Walgreens. My wife wasn't feeling very good. One of our last days in Alaska. We just wanted to make sure she didn't have COVID. Went to Walgreens to go, and she didn't. And went to Walgreens to go get a COVID test or a couple COVID tests. And I was like, you guys have COVID tests here? And they, no. I mean, like, literally, no. And I'm like, oh, is it? And they're like, we're sold out. You're just going to have to call around. And okay. And then I went across the street to a Safeway, and they had plenty of COVID tests for $9, And so it's like, is it that hard to be kind and helpful? And so, you think about food delivery service and DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff like that. It's late, it's cold. They usually bundle it with 3 other deliveries. You're third. You get your food and you're like, I paid twice as much for this food as I would have if I had gone into the restaurant with all the additional fees. The food is freezing cold. It took an hour and 15 minutes to get here. I watched them on the map drive all over the city before they got to my house, right? Nobody returns calls or emails. Stuff just sits in the inboxes. Nobody returns a call. Nobody returns texts. It's crazy, right? And so the low expectations for things like showing up to work and punctuality and being on time or early, God forbid, early, and returning calls or returning emails, it's just not there anymore, right? Again, I could go on and on about this, but that's enough. You've seen it, right? I'm sure you've got a million examples, but what that does is it creates for us the opportunity to provide unbelievable customer service, no matter what your skill level is. Barbell Logic, I really think the number one reason we've been successful over the years is because we have been committed to providing tremendous service to our clients. And listen, we haven't always provided perfect service to our clients. Also, we try to provide really excellent service to our coaches and to our staff as well. But we are constantly getting emails. I get emails, Nikki Sims gets emails about how great our customer service is. The handwritten cards for birthdays and block anniversaries. It's like an anniversary of you've been at Block for a year or 2 years or whatever, or you've hit 500 workouts or, BL1K, 1,000 workouts, and you get a laser cut plaque with your name on it and all of those sorts of things. And just the constant, the feedback that we give on TKC via the screen recording, where you get to actually talk to your clients, they get to hear your voice, so the picture in picture, you get to see your face, they get to connect with you. It is still a personal core value for me to respond to emails, even the unimportant, non-urgent emails, within 24 hours. If you email me, try it, email me. I will respond within 24 hours, no matter what, because we are a customer service company. That's how we make our money, right? And so we put out all this content for free, and we've got all these other things that we're also doing. We're educating people in the academy, but ultimately we're a service business. And so the way that we can distinguish ourselves beyond everyone else that's just writing programs, like here's access to my Google Drive folder of sort of programs, is not the same thing that we do at Barbell Logic. Like, we're trying to connect with our clients, and customer service is a way to do that. And today, if you'll do that and do it well, if you'll set the standard to return the phone call, or hey, answer the phone when it rings, like actually answer the phone when it rings, return the emails within 24 hours, respond to your clients, do the thing you say you're going to do, build the integrity, right? Or have integrity and build the trust with your clients. You'll be amazed at the moat that will create to keep your clients long-term. And again, maybe you're not even into online coaching, you do something different, but doing what you say you're going to do every day for the rest of your life for 20 years, that's how you become successful at business, right? It's not getting shot out of a cannon and the flame burning bright and you do it for 6 months. And it's putting out the podcast every single week for 7 or 8 years. It's making YouTube videos every week for 7 or 8 years, not 7 or 8 weeks, not 7 or 8 months. It's getting up and responding to your emails every morning. It's breaking down all the online coaching videos every morning at the same time, every single day, forever. Right? It's doing that stuff. And I realize some people, they just don't have it in them. They have to be told what to do. They need to be an employee because they can't do it. But if that's not you, if you are a self-starter and you're someone who can actually take the responsibility and ownership and still do the thing even when nobody's making you do it, then the first place I would focus on is customer service. Hey, listen, if you're not a great coach, like if you're not brilliant at programming or technique breakdown yet, you're still kind of up and coming and refining your eye, you can still differentiate yourself with customer service by having great customer service, by connecting with your clients, by responding in a timely manner, by being well-spoken. By the way, checking your emails and making sure they're not full of typos, like things like that. So you come across as professional. That is a huge differentiator, so much more than it was just 3 years ago. The world has changed and customer service sucks. Everybody gets paid more, right? The dollar per hour has gone up. That's the reality of the situation. So in a post-COVID world, if you just focus first on bringing incredible customer service to your clients, incredible customer service to your pre-clients, to the people who are consuming your content, responding and engaging on social media and not coming across as an ass on social media. Like internet fighting is ridiculous. We don't get involved in that. We don't get involved with the haters on, it's just a waste of time, right? So we cut that waste and instead we respond in kindness to everyone. Even when we get a tough email, even when we get a tough comment from a client or somebody who's unhappy, your natural inclination is to be defensive. And I would challenge you to not be. Criticism is a gift. And there's a reason that they say those things. And then you have an opportunity to earn trust, to build integrity, to help them understand that you actually care, that you have some benevolence towards them, even in the times that you screw up. And so, we screw up sometimes. Sometimes we don't do it all right. If you plant your flag and you double down and you screw up, it certainly doesn't help your cause in a service industry. And so it's perfectly okay to say you're sorry and to be authentic and mean it and have great customer service. So really focus this week and every week for the rest of your life on having fantastic customer service and watch it differentiate you in this service industry, no matter where you work, whether you're an online coach, an in-person coach, showing up on time, looking the part, dressing the part. If you're in person, being kind, staying off your phone, right? Not texting while people are talking to you, especially a paying client. Keep that phone in your pocket, right? Outside of pulling it out and taking, videos of PRs, don't do that, right? Like you think about when you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and they're constantly on their phone, or they get the little buzz on the Apple Watch and they keep looking at their Apple, like turn those notifications off, right? Be in the moment, like be focused on the thing and provide great customer service and watch your business skyrocket. That is a thing that anyone can do. It costs you nothing and it will have the greatest return on investment that you could possibly imagine. Customer service is king in a post-COVID world. That's another episode of the Coaching Success Podcast. If this has brought you value, we would love a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Tell a friend about it. I think we've got a great system going right now with Andrew and Nikki's fantastic podcast for lifters on Tuesdays and my business focused podcast on Fridays. You don't have to be an online coach to get value out of this. You can do anything in business. And again, check out Stupid Tax with Scott and his accountant. It's a really good podcast and I have a lot of fun listening to it. It's a great companion podcast to this one for sure. So we'll see you guys next week.